developments in the country that have directly implications for the youth of this nation. To begin with, we wish to express our solidarity with all young people who went through genuine recruitment processes but have been rendered jobless due to the insensitive and vindictive nature of the John Dramani Mahama administration. We wish to align ourselves with the labor unions, civil society organizations, other well-meaning Ghanaians, the New Patriotic Party, as well as the minority in Parliament, to condemn such an act and to state that never again should such acts be allowed to happen in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be recalled that on the 13th of August 2024, just a few months before the general elections, the National Democratic Congress launched its Youth Manifesto, in which several lofty promises were made, and these were made to the youth of this country. Notably, amongst them, these promises, one was the establishment of a young entrepreneurial microcredit institution with a seed money of 750 million Ghana cedis to disburse affordable loans to young entrepreneurs. This promise cannot be found. This promise can be found in paragraph E of the NDC Youth Manifesto under the Youth Entrepreneurship and Skills Development. In February 2025, Osman Abdullahi Ayariga, the Chief Executive Officer of the NYA, National Youth Authority, reaffirmed this commitment, reiterating that the launch of the Youth and Women Business Policy Environment Reform, that is YWPER, project that the government planned to provide flexible loans to young entrepreneurs to strengthen their businesses. However, ladies and gentlemen, 5 months into the administration of John Dramani Mahama, and after presenting its first budget to Parliament, the government has gone completely silent on this major entrepreneurship initiative aimed at boosting youth-owned businesses. Instead, the government has sought to relaunch the MPP government's Youth Start initiative under the guise of the Ejumewura project, an attempt to confuse the public and renege on its promise of establishing the Young Entrepreneurship Microfinance for the youth. The question we ask today is very simple. Mr. President, where is the Young Entrepreneurship Microcredit you promised? And where is the 750 million Ghana cedis seed money you promised? With all apologies to MTN, we ask again, Na sika no wɔ he? Where is the money? Another issue of great concern, which we wish to bring to the attention of the general public, is the increase in utility tariffs. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC government in April this year announced an increase of 17.75% and 4.02% in electricity and water tariffs respectively, effective from 3rd May 2025. This increment came at a time when public sector's employees had received a mere 10% increment in their salary. For a government that promised a 24-hour economy anchored on industrialization and committed to implementing this policy through the provision of affordable electricity, it is astonishing that in less than 5 months into office, the John Mahama-led administration main preoccupation appears to be the impoverishment of the Ghanaians through these utility hikes. The youth, ladies and gentlemen, stands to suffer the most from these outrageous tariffs. As the artisanal economy, which employs a significant portion of the youth, relies heavily on affordable electricity. With these insensitive tariff hikes, barbers, hairdressers, carpenters, cold store operators, ice water sellers, and others will bear the brunt. The youth employed in the formal industrial sector are also severely affected, as these tariffs increase often leads to job cuts by industry attempting to offset operational costs. However, these tariff hikes comes at a time where students in the tertiary institutions are being threatened with the responsibility of paying for their own utilities. Adding to this burden are the thousands of young people who have been rendered jobless through the reckless termination of their employments. The economy have become for public sector workers to private sector workers, artisans to students. The youth across all sectors of the economy have become the primary victims of this insensitive government, one that is yet to create a single job to alleviate the hardship Ghanaian youth are enduring. Intriguingly, the government response to these insensitive hikes has been to blame it on Ghana's IMF program. even though all indications point to the fact that this is a government orchestrated increment. For example, less than 3 months in the administration, the John Dramani Mahama government increased the price of gas supplied to power producers astronomically. With such an increment, it was expected that power producers would in turn pass the extra cost on consumers, thereby accounting for the tariff increment. It bears to emphasize that in March 2024, the PRC announced a 6.56% reduction in electricity tariff. That is March 2024. At a time when Ghana was under IMF program. How then was President Akufo-Addo able to reduce utility tariffs under IMF, yet Mr. Mahama cannot do same? The question we therefore ask today is it the reset Mr. Mahama promised the youth of this country? We are therefore, by this press conference, calling on civil society, labor unions, students, and groups, as well as all well-meaning Ghanaians, to join us in putting pressure on this government to drop the tariff now. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be recalled that while in opposition, the NDC used unprinted words to describe the then ruling government for increasing the producer price for cocoa to 3,000 Ghana cedis, the highest ever in the history of this country. The then opposition NDC insisted that the MPP could have increased the producer price to at least 6,000 Ghana cedis, and assured cocoa farmers that they would be paid this amount if NDC wins in 2024 general elections. Ladies and gentlemen, following their victory, it has become one excuse after another, one lamentation after another. You may ask, what is the concern of a youth group regarding an issue of cocoa pricing? The answer is simple. Across the entire cocoa value chain, it is the youth that stands to gain or lose the most. From the farmers, farmlands, laborers, buyers, to sellers, the youth are present at all levels of this cocoa sector. Moreover, many individuals who were recently dismissed from legitimate employment by the insensitive Mahama government have turned to cocoa-related jobs for survival. For many young people who depend on their farmer parents proceeds from cocoa are a primary source of income. This makes it imperative that a well-developed cocoa sector has a ripple effect on the youth of this country. What are we saying today? The Mahama and Mr. Mahama and your appointees, enough of these excuses and lamentations. Just do the needful and honor your promises. We do not believe Mr. Mahama is fulfilling his long-held belief that one can lie his way to power and then ignore the people. If that is the approach the NDC government plans to adopt, governing with lies and unfulfilling promises, then we are sorry. We shall rise and demand what is rightfully ours as Ghanaians. We therefore call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, fulfill the cocoa promises made to Ghanaians.